So you know how styles are being applied on blocks. Now let's take a look at typography. Earlier in classic themes, we used to have the customizer and then have a separate font available to select, or maybe the whole list of Google fonts. But in these block themes, you would need to have these fonts defined here and them being loaded via the theme.json. So you can't go in the in the functions.php and enqueue it, because that might mess things up for you. But this way, it will be enqueued with the standard code that WordPress outputs. So this is what a basic font family block looks like. Not block, actually in the schema, how to register it. So this is a font family that is already available on the system. So you can see it's a system font family. Now if you were to add a new font family, what you can do is, let's go for, in the theme.json, in typography. I don't think it has book style variations, resource links. Let's take a look at a font face. Yeah, so here it is, the properties for font families. Basically, we can just say here a font face and then say font face. Now we'll need to, I think, add the source or path. And then let me just download a font from fonts.google.com. And let's use Inter, because, well, being a developer, if you haven't used Inter, then what have you used? We have downloaded it. Now let's extract it, and then we'll have this .ttf file. Yeah, let's copy and paste this in the assets folder, or let's, in a much better fashion, the plugin we used earlier, let's take a look at that. The plugin which we used earlier, the create block theme, also has this manage theme fonts section. Alright, because this error is because we just have the theme.json syntax wrong. So if you were to remove that, now it will work, right? So now, as you can see here, it also has the option to directly add a Google font from here. So if you want to have that convenience, you can do it from here, or you can add a font locally, right? It can accept, as you can see, it's .ttf and everything. Now if you were to select the .ttf file, it will automatically take in the font name and the font style and the font weight. Yeah, upload font to your theme. Now if you were to go here, you'll see that in the assets we have the fonts imported, and along with in our theme.json we have the code for it added for us. And the best part about this is everything in here in the settings is available to us via CSS variables, so that you can use them in the styles. So now if you were to say in the core group block, why is this not working? Okay, because okay, let's say core and paragraphs, right? Let's say typography, and in typography, what is there? Font family. Yeah. And I think in the font family, you can just output the variable name. So how you would say this font family you want to say, right? So here you will use as any CSS bar is used in CSS style sheets. Imagine this as completely your CSS style sheets, but with having those extra bit of CSS methods. So imagine that as that. So now we'll take a look at our editor. Let's go in our editor, and then we'll also have the, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, because as you can see, it's just a variable. Let's go to a paragraph block. Okay, and this is a post content. Let's add a paragraph block above this, and let's say hello world. Sorry, my bad, I can't write today, I guess. I were to go in here and in the font families, let's inspect. And if you were to go down, you see all these presets. So anything with WP preset is your is your variable that is generated via the theme.json. So let's take a look in it for fonts. So what we have here is a font family. So WP preset, I would expect it to be with the font family. As you can see here, it is WP preset font family enter. So all you need to do is basically just provide it that variable name, and that's it basically. Now what I would expect is it to work, the paragraph block to have the, let's save that, and then let's come back here, and as you can see, it is being applied, the enter font. Let's inspect it and see. Inspect. As you can see here, it is already applied here. So you can imagine all sorts of stuffs in the typography, whatever is available here. And as I mentioned earlier, it's not gonna get shown in the site editor, whatever you have set in the theme.json in styles, because that's your defaults. Suppose this is your style.css, and that's not gonna be it's not gonna be shown in the editor. But a user or a site editor can update it via the site editor. So there's that. Let's move on to the next stuff, that is the blocks here. But we have already covered how block settings work. As you saw here, we set the spacings and it reflected in the block. So yeah, let's move on to the color. So we also have in settings colors. You can set colors here, and let's set colors. So we can set a color palette here, or we can set duotone colors, or we can set gradients here, and that would, as you would expect, will be available to you in the site editor. So once you have that site, in the theme.json, the color palettes, that will be available to you here. So as you can see here, these are not being shown here because we haven't added anything, and these are the default values that are available in the theme.json. Sorry, it's not available via our theme.json, but the default theme.json that is under the code via WordPress code. So how do you add your colors? Let's take a look. Let's add a color palette. I think it goes like this. You have your JSON schema blocks, and then the first one being name of your color. We'll call it primary, and the slug, of course, and that will be primary as well. And then the color, right? This can have hex values and RGB values, or any other color value you would expect. So let's provide it a color value of black, and let's hit refresh. Now, if you were to go to a same paragraph block and go to text, you'll see that via the theme, there's this available here that is called primary. And we were to set here, because it's already black, it's not being reflected. Let's set the background to black, and you can see it has been applied. And hit save, and it's also been applied. So that's how you add colors. Imagine the same way for gradients. You add your block, and then you'd have a separate set of keys here, I think, name, and then the slug, and then the third one being the color or the gradient. Yeah, so the CSS gradient string, basically how you have it in a gradient CSS style sheet. So that, and duotone works like having two colors in one. So you can take a look at that in the theme.json here. Color palette, gradients, and duotones. So you can see here gradients. Here's a gradient. Here's a duotone code for theme.json. all sort of stuff is available here. And now let's take a look at font sizes, because that's also something that you can define here in typography. Now let's go to our font families, and in here let's say font sizes. Now we can define font sizes, different font sizes actually. Now you can say let's say small, and the slug, I'd say small, and the size. So you can have fluid sizes that will have a minimum and a maximum font size. Let's say maximum and a minimum, right? And this will work as a clamp, as you would expect a CSS clamp to work. So if you don't know what clamps are, maybe you can search on Google, and then basically those are just flexible layout elements, or you can use them to write flexible calculations of min max values basically. So a minimum. So let's say we want to have a 0.5 rem to up to maximum 1 rem to up to 0.5 rem, right? And now this will work as you'd expect from this fluid. And you can also have the font size, or you can just say size. I think it's size, and then you would write the font size you would have. So you'd just write the font size you have. Now let's save it and go to our site editor. Let's take a look. And if you were to, let's remove our background because it's invisible now, and hit save. Now let's take a look at our typography. If you were to go in here, and in the block we'll have to say font size, because okay, and the size is already available here, and it's already selected because the small is the only size we have, right? So small is already selected, and for some reason it's not being shown here. px and 0.5 rem. Let's take a look. Also, the good thing about the core themes that you can also take a look at the core themes that are already available, block themes. Let's take a look into Themes.json here, and the typography, the font sizes. You can see here there's a lot of font customization going on here, and then see it's fluid, and then size. I think size is required, so you need to have this size. So let's have size set to 1 rem as well, and let's refresh. Now let's go here, and as you can see here it says small. Okay, yeah, so actually what this was is so this is basically the selector. You can select between the sizes. You can either select this or the other typography sizes you have, right? And then you can say here and then write your own custom. But by the way, you see that we have the S size selected, and even when it's set custom, it says 1 because that the value is being from the small size. Let's copy this a few bits of the font sizes from 2023, which we just saw. 2023 Theme.json font sizes. Let's copy all of these. Yeah. And let's copy paste these. Let's replace. And now I'm going to refresh. We'll have all these elements: small, medium, large, extra large, extra large. If you were to go to our paragraph block in typography, you can see it takes in the first letter of your font size name, and it just applies that here. So you can set it to any size you have set there, or the best part about the styles section below here is you can have that set automatically. Say font size. Let's now save this block. Let's go back to our editor and then save the block which we just set to medium, right? Let's just save that to medium, and then you'll see that that block won't have the styles applied, which we are gonna apply via styles. So font size, and then again, as you would expect, we have a var applied here. So now WP preset will be the same, and we'll have font size. I think this is where the small, let's do large. Yeah, and if it is wrong, it won't be applied. So let's refresh the page. By the way, the previous block will only have medium applied because we have set it and saved it. Now let's create another block after it. And in this, let's just add anything. Hello world 2. Okay. So I don't think that it has the styles applied right now. Let's take a look. Actually, let's take a look at our variables. So it is large is available, and so if you were to go to our block here and see that it has medium size applied. Okay, sorry. We are inspecting the wrong element. Should be inspecting this element, and it doesn't have that applied. Typography core paragraph. It is a paragraph block as far as I know, and it doesn't have that applied. Okay, yeah, so this is a wrong, see, we just did a silly mistake. This is a wrong variable. Okay, so WP, after WP there are 2 hyphens. Now it will have that. Let's again leave the page. I should have just saved it. Now I'll have to, I think, add the block again. Let's insert after. Let's say, as you can see, it's already applied now. See, this is a paragraph block, and now it already has the large size applied. So there's that. Now you know how the font sizes work as well. And there are a few other things I think remaining, but now you get the gist of it, how you can create your theme.json and how these things work. Now, one of the most important parts of this theme.json is the template parts area. You can see I am defining them here, the template parts, and whatever you give them name, whatever the name and the area you give them, that will be that. So the name refers to this here, and then the area refers to the I think it should be slug. Let's go to our theme.json, and in the template parts, let's take a look. Okay, so name, title. Okay, no. So the name refers to the template parts. So this template, the parts directory is the required directory if you want to put any template parts. And any name you put in here and you want to register in the block editor, you will have to have it mentioned here. So let's remove this here, and if we were to go to our site editor, I suppose since we have removed the footer from the theme.json, it won't be available here. Okay, for some reason it is. Let's take a look. Manage all template parts, footer, WP. I think it will get registered, but the naming and everything is being handled from here. So if you want to name something, such as maybe name it anything else, so you give it a title and then give it hello, and then that will be reflected here. As you can see here, it says hello now. But then the area here is also important because that's what defines whether it's a footer or a header. And then the third, which we earlier discussed, is the general part, which you can use to define any other kind of parts you can imagine on your site. So there's that. And let's take a look at a few other things. I think that will be the page templates. template, custom templates. Yeah. So the custom templates. Let's take a look at 2023. So we have in the custom templates, what do we have in custom templates? Template paths, we have custom templates. All right, as you can see here. So custom templates, where do they go? So they go in the templates folder itself, but they are just custom templates. Imagine them in the classic themes, we used to have the page templates, right? So these are just custom templates, and you would set them here, the post types you would want them to have, and let's just create one, and we'll see that how that works. Let's create. You can have them created as alternatives to your templates, page templates. So let's create a blank template, and then we'll just name it blank. And again, this name will refer to the name in here, the index.html or anything. So let's name it blank as well. Sorry, blank.html, because HTML is what we use now. So blank, and then post types, right? So the post types will have the post types. So we'll just say post, because we don't want this to have this template available. Sorry, let's just say page. We don't want this to have in the posts area, right? Okay, so what is this missing again? It says the good thing about this is it also wants you if you're missing anything. Okay, it's missing a property title, so let's add that. Let's call it blank page, right? And in our blank page, we have nothing, right? Again, you will not do anything you want to make here, because you might not have the latest markup knowledge of the blocks. So what you will do if you want to add something here is go to the site editor, refresh it, go back to your template area, the templates in the design, and then in that, so you can see it's here, blank page, and in that template, you'll see that it's empty right now, because which is what we just created. You can add anything here, say a button which says hello, and then you will go into the code editor and copy it and then paste it. Now, if I were to refresh this, it will have that by default. That's with a visual editor, as you can see, it has that. And each page can now set this. So even for a developer, it gets a bit tough to understand where things are. Imagine what it is for a normal user and what it will take them to understand this. But we as developers will only need to help them navigate. So when we learn all of this, we can make it a bit easier for them to understand, maybe via interactive blocks or anything, maybe helping with better documentation, etc. So yeah, let's move forward from the page, custom page templates, just so that you know you can define them from here, and that'll be available in the editor. So, right now you can always copy and paste the code. So blank page, we have that here, and then you just copy and paste the code in a page you want to have. So there's that. So I think we have covered the most important parts of the theme.json, and this video can't be any longer than this. And I am also working on WordPress theme course, where I will go through each and everything which I may have skipped in this video, and explore how you can basically go from a Figma template to a complete FSE block theme. And let's take a look at a few other things before signing this off. Global style variations, we are already aware of it, how the styles property work. But let's take a look at the theme.json we have right now. So you saw how we started from the settings and then we went to styles. So this is what it will be basically for any block theme you are creating. Once you have your settings created, you won't need to work on the blocks much. You will just need to set a few default styles and then go into the editor. And then the best part about the editor I like about it is this, going into the styles area and then clicking on this icon that's called style block, and then this outputs all the blocks available separated via the blocks category in tabs. So whenever you want to modify them, you can modify them by clicking on it, and then additional blocks, CSS, all the settings they have, such as colors, layout, and this will, by the way, reflect in theme.json. It won't be reflected by default, but once you export it, it will be in the updated theme.json, right? So this is a pretty good bird eye view. And if you have made changes to the blocks via the styles, etc., you can also take a look via the same. And there's one more thing, that the style variations. So when you go here in the inspector styles and click on the styles, we'll need to have a styles directory in order to have that. So we'll create a styles directory, and then in here you can create basically theme.json alternatives. So let's create secondary.json and let's just copy a few things from our theme.json. Let's copy these first few things and let's close this. I remember to close each block because that's an important way of working with this the JSON files basically. I think this also takes in a title. So now we can call it secondary, right? And now if we were to refresh it, we'll see that we have browse styles option. Now if we were to go here, it will show us the other theme.json style we have. So we just saw how you can have the theme.json for everything about the templates, and then imagine the flexibility of switching between these theme.json styles. So your users can have these multiple variation of styles of templates, and that will help you define a much smoother and flexible theme workflow basically for your users as well. So that's about it for this video. This was a very basic view of how WordPress theme development is looking like in 2023. But I will also be making, as I mentioned, a whole WordPress theme development course on block themes. So stay tuned and hopefully subscribe to this channel if you really like this content and maybe want me to grow as well. I'll see you in another video. Thank you for watching this video. Thumbs up if you like this video, and definitely hit subscribe. Thank you again.